welcome to the Arsenal Huddle. Big up to everyone that's in the chat, and thanks for joining us. So, this time last night, we was all sweating. We was all trying to predict the score, what it will be. Some of us predicted it was going to be a draw. Some of us predicted a Brighton win. But one thing's for sure, we did not know what the outcome was going to be. And boy, was it an outcome. One thing we did all predict was that Man City would probably go and slap Nottingham Forest. But football being football and the integrity of the Premiership, I suppose it's something that has to be rewarded. Great guest with me today, as usual, Kenny Ken and the one and only Dan Potts. So make sure that you're all subbing to my guest and the 12th man. If you haven't subbed to the 12th man, you obviously have been living under a rock or you've been living on a planet, because the guy is absolutely flying, and rightly so as well. So an absolute pleasure to have him on board. Guys, how are we all feeling? No one predicted that, Kenny. I mean, big smile on your face, bruv. So what you saying?
No, I think what we saw yesterday is that Fabian Herzl has got every right to be upset about the time wasting. He's upset, but he could be upset about our style of play, but that's on him. No one asked Fabian Herzl to sign to build his team around a 35-year-old striker, knowing full well you can't pay that striker every game. If you've got a younger striker, who knows, those openings you created, who knows, you might have put them away. That's your fault. That's on you and your team. It's on you and your team that you ran out of gas and that you made it more comfortable for us in the last 15 minutes. That's not on us. That's on you and your team. I don't remember how many major saves Raya had to make in the last 20 minutes, if at all. So you had the ball. You got to do what you got to do, because Man United broke us down. Wolves broke us down. You know, Man City broke us down at the Emirates, albeit once. Liverpool, so they can beat us. Teams can break us down. It's not our fault that your team weren't good enough to take a point when other teams have. That's on you. But one thing we saw yesterday is, I said, and all three of us were working together on Tuesday, mainly Dan as the host, and I said that buckle in, because you're not going to see beautiful, attractive football panache. You're not going to see it. And the thing is that one thing people got to learn, if they haven't learned already, that the system's the star. That's the biggest star at Arsenal. And after that is Saka. All this, we need to get the ball to Gyökeres. We need to fit in with Gyökeres. We've got to fit in with Eze. No. The biggest star to system is Arteta. That's what's more important than any other player. And what we saw yesterday is the system won us the game. Mm-hmm. And then players, understand the system and making sacrifices. Saka got his goal, fluky goal, and that after that gave us something to hold on to for the last probably 85 minutes. And that's the bottom line. The best players on the pitch was Gabriel Magalhaes and maybe Hincapié. Gaten Rice struggled a bit, but he got a grips of his game, and that was it. That's football. Unfortunately, the rules say you got to score. It's simple. All you got to do to win a game is score more goals than someone else. Simple.
Yeah, no, facts, Kenny. Facts, Kenny. I mean, it's taken a lot of criticism, Dan, hasn't it? Herzl has come out. We've had people on TalkSport. We've had ex-players, all sorts of doing the rounds about, if Arsenal win the Premier League, it's the worst title that's been won by a football team. And I mean, how do you look at it, Dan? Because I'm in the situation where we can sort that out during the summer. I just want a trophy, and it's getting to the stage now where I don't care how it's done. Yeah, it's not ideal. We know that. But at the end of the day, I mean, it is down to other teams to try and get one over on us, and they're struggling, aren't they, Dan?
They are. It's risky what we're doing, because we're going one up and we're letting them, come and have a go at us. And if they equalise, then that's when we go and score. Well, I don't know why we can't go kill teams off 2 or 3. I thought last night it was one of the worst performances we've seen in a while. I've got to be honest. I thought it was poor. I didn't like any way we were going forward with the ball. But we've come out of it with 3 points, and in a title race, that's what matters. Now, people have said to me before, do you care how we play? Of course, I'd love to go and watch Pep Guardiola football, Jurgen Klopp football, Arsene Wenger football, Sir Alex Ferguson football, and win that way. But if we can't win like that, then we have to win ugly. Then make sure that you're winning getting across the line by doing it. Because if you do play like this, DJ, and you don't win, it's an embarrassment. So we have to win playing like this. We can't not get across the line. So there's two ways to look at it. I do find it funny that the media, rival fans, Hertzler and co are all crying about it. I mean, I weren't hearing this when Mourinho and Conte and Simeone were doing it. The only difference was they were across the line whilst they were doing it, and we haven't done that yet. So it's easy to laugh at us whilst we're not winning, but this is why we've got to get across the line by doing it. He's infiltrated this like sort of style that he's put together, and if he is going to opt to go with his style, then we have to win playing like that, because otherwise it's not good enough. So I don't really understand where the whole of this season has gone, because it seems like Manchester City are just irrelevant and a pathetic club. Now, I don't think they are. I think they're very relevant, and they're certainly not a pathetic club, but the media would not agree with me there, because they dropped points last night. I haven't heard anything. Did they drop points, or was it all a dream? Because if you look online, you can't see it. All I can see is Arsenal are crap. They're ugly. They don't deserve it. It's an asterisk if they win. And it's 1-0. It's boring. And I hate football. And everyone needs to stop watching it. Well, what an absolute throw your toys out the pram way to look at a midweek game of fixtures that have actually been quite exciting. When you look at Newcastle winning in the last minute against 10 men Manchester United. Now, it wasn't long ago that Brentford and Burnley were 4-3. Now, I'm not trying to say that this is the best league's been, because it's far from it. I think it's horrific. However, I just find it a little bit over the top, and there's a little bit of inconsistency, a little bit of hypocrisy, when Manchester City can go 2-0 up against Tottenham and throw it away 2-2 at their ground, and then go 2-1 up against Forest and throw it away. Yet when Wolves and Brentford did that to Arsenal, it was media talk for about 2 weeks. But when Manchester City do it, well, you know, they've got 4 in a row. They're all right. I know they won nothing last season, but they can't foul. They can foul. They failed last season, and they'll fail again if they don't win this league. So for me, I think if the standards are right in Manchester City, they should be devastated they dropped points last night. But you go and talk sports, Sky Sports, social media, they're all right. It's only Man City dropping points, don't matter. It's very weird. Like when Arsenal do it, we've bottled it, we've thrown it away, it's done. From myself as well, by the way. I was ranting and raving about it. Rightly so, I was pissed off. Man City have done it, and everyone's just moved on. It's like, oh, it's a shame Arsenal have won, but if they do win it, it will be that asterisk, because they don't deserve it. You know, it's a load of weird. I mean, look, Kenny will tell me I was around in the George Graham days, right? But there wasn't social media and all this stuff. I remember it was similar back then. It's just there wasn't social media. 1-0 to the Arsenal, boring Arsenal. 2-1 Arsenal. No one wants to watch that. Who the hell would want a season ticket at Arsenal? Absolute boring at Highbury. 1-0, 2-1. Who wants to watch all that football? One of stuff. Everyone hated it. As George Graham said it. If you hated, you're doing something right. And it's like in this YouTube game, by the way. If you're hated, it's usually because you're doing quite well. if you're not hated, it's because you're not doing something right. That's what I was told by Kevin Campbell, bless him. He told me that. When you're getting a load of abuse, mate, it's because you might be doing something right. And I truly believe, lastly, it's because people are doing this, right? You ready? They're going, boom, wow, Arsenal are up there. That's where I want to be. Let's slag them off. Let's slag them off and how they've got there, because we're jealous and we want to be there. Now, I'm not saying Arsenal are going to win everything, and because I still have concerns. But when I look at the other teams, I find it really pathetic, if I'm honest, that they're all looking up at Arsenal and they can't go, do you know what? They don't play pretty, but they're bloody winning. It's up to us to stop us. Instead, it's, they're cheats. They're cheating. They're grappling people in the box. They're 1-0. VAR shouldn't be a set. And I'm thinking, what are we talking about here? This is bizarre. We never did this when Mourinho was doing it. We never did this with Conte or Simeone. It's very, very odd for me. So, look, Arsenal have got to get across the line. This is not me being a boo-hoo. I'm not one of those fans. You know me, boys. But I find it very hypocritical and very odd that Manchester City can drop points to Spurs and Forest, who are 2 relegation fodder, and it's absolutely fine. There's no issues here. Man City are going to be all right. But when Arsenal do it, criminal. Bottle it. I find it very bizarre, the lack of inconsistencies. But look, they have won 4 in a row and we haven't, so maybe that's what it's all about. And I suppose when they say Man City might bottle it, it won't make any stories, but it will with Arsenal. So I just want, do you know what? It makes me kind of, as much as I don't agree that I want to see 1-0, 2-1 all the time, it does make me kind of think I'd take 1-0 from a corner in eight more times just to piss people off. And
just to wind people up.
Yeah, 100%, mate.
No, Dan, honestly, that's where I'm at, man. I mean, I remember the George Graham era. The season when we won it, 89. You know, we conceded 36. I think we scored about 74, 76 goals in and around there. So, we were scoring goals, but very, very similar, Kenny. A lot of people are comparing this side to the George Graham of 89. I think we drew 10, lost 6. And, it's very, very similar. And a lot of people are comparing it. And we took stick back then in 89, and we're taking a bit of stick now. Now, I'm with Dan. I want to see good football. I believe Arsenal should be playing better, more expansive football. But at the end of the day, the pressure's on all these players because we haven't won the Premiership for 22 years, and it's desperate. So we're going to try and win it by any ways we can. What you saying on the comparison to the 89 team and what you see of the team, Kenny?
Well, I think the 89 team played some good football at times, especially when we were running away with it. Up until Christmas, we were playing good football. We played some good football when we beat Spurs in North London Derby at their ground. We played good football when we beat them in the return game in 2-0. Goals from Merson and Michael Thomas. Remember, we had David Rocastle on the side. We had Brian Marwood. And we had the poacher, Alan Smith. So we were playing some good football. It was on the ground. But we were able to go from one extreme to another, playing good football and being really good at set pieces. Oh, come on, you're going to be good at set pieces when you've got Marwood's delivery, you've got Bold and Adams. You're always going to look a good side. And we were quite direct as well. But it was enjoyable to watch at times. But George learned that pretty that defence helps you win the league. I think the comparisons in 89 is that Liverpool at their best, they were the team to beat. And I always believed it then, and I certainly believe it now. There's a northwest bias where the public, especially the ex-players and maybe the TV executives, they associate winning the league with the northern clubs, Man City, Man United before them, and Liverpool. So I just think it comes from there. And when they talk about good football, Man United were never accused of playing poor football because, let's face it, they had players and teams that play panache. Liverpool, we all know how Liverpool played with panache. And Man City, the team that won 198 points in 2 seasons, they played with a bit of panache and attacking football. So, of course, we're going to be a bit different. So I do think it's a bit of bias there. Another thing as well is that I spoke to Dan and Jez on both shows. I'm going to say it again today. There's misconceptions about our fans. The problem is that people only take care of or take notice of the vocal minority. And when I say the vocal minority, it's 1% of the fan base who people think are representative of Arsenal fans. So they'll take what someone says on a fan cam, they'll take what someone says on social media, and they think that's all Arsenal fans. But we're not like that. We're not. We've beaten the pub, the Che Guevara. 70% of people don't even know who we are. But just get about their business and get on with it. And it's true, you go to Tolly and everyone just gets about the business. They're all down to earth people. Obviously, there's going to be a few youngsters who give us a hug because they've seen us before. And obviously, there's going to be a few people in the ground. But the people you sit amongst don't watch our podcast. They're just normal guys that will go to the pub afterwards and have a discussion with their mates in the pub and in the bars, or they go to the any takeaway around the corner, either Chinese, in near St Thomas Road, or they go to any of the Chineses around Hornsey Road, and they get about their business, and they probably have a bit of banter at work. That's the real Arsenal fans. We're not like that. We're not arrogant. We have a bit of banter with Spurs. We have a bit of banter, but we don't think we're the big cheese.
No.
But for some reason, everyone associates us with arrogance and passion. And because we put ourselves out there, the vocal minority, it's fun. We were memes. We became memes from about 2014 up until lockdown. We became a meme because we weren't winning anything. We weren't winning anything massive of any consequence, and we had a divisive manager in Arsene Wenger. But that's all gone now. What we're going to see is that when we get to the parade, you're going to see the real Arsenal fans. That's if we win anything, by the way, and they're the ones that don't get any credit. You saw the passion from those, the away fans, the best in the world. They're fantastic. They don't need to do what we're doing. They don't need to do anything. Let's go there, support the team. They knew we were bad yesterday. They knew it was poor.
It was bad.
They're a great time. They're the real heroes. The 99% of the silent majority of the real heroes in our fan base. And they're the ones that get a bad stick for no reason. And it's not the vocal minority's fault. It's the TV executives who are lazy, who think that the vocal minority represent all of us, and they don't.
No, it's facts, Kenny. This is the problem, though, and it's true what Dan touched on as well. City draw that game yesterday at Nottingham Forest, and we don't hear no bottling this and bottling that. Arsenal draw a game and they're bottling it and they're doing this and they're doing that, and it goes on for days and days and days. We do make good media coverage without a doubt, and that whether that's the fan base or whether that's the team, whether it's Arteta, we do make good media coverage. Now, I'm not saying there's a vendetta against Arsenal, and I'm not saying everyone hates Arsenal, because I'm sure there's some fans that would rather see us win it than Man City, but it just seems to be kind of going down that road a little bit that, we do make good viewing on social media and radio stations, and it is a little bit jarring, I've got to be honest. But last night's game, Dan, I look at individual players, and I'm looking at the team in the whole, and the only person that I can see who's an absolute must in this team is Gabriel Magalhaes. I think that he's probably up there with probably my player of the season. If it was to end now, I'd probably vote for Gabby. And then I look at the rest of the team, and I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it from Gyökeres. I'm not seeing it from Eze. I'm not seeing it from the left. I'm not seeing it much from Saka, apart from the goal. I thought he was poor. I thought Trossard was poor again. Timber done okay, but he looked tired towards the end. Rice is starting to look really tired. Zubimendi, you know me with Zubimendi, we've discussed it in the pub and stuff like that at the ground. I'm not the biggest fan of him in the six. However, I'd like to see him in a more attacking role. I thought he was off it yesterday. The only two that stood out for me really was Nkapé, who's been an absolute revelation, and Gabby. Now, as much as we're 7 points clear and we're kind of sitting here thinking, well, it's pretty much in the bag, we've got one hand on it. When I look at the rest of the team, it does panic me going into these next 8 games, because Everton's away form's really good. We've got a cup final. How are you feeling, Dan? Are you feeling confident, or have you got nerves about the rest of the team like I have?
Yeah, I've got nerves about the team, and it's not about their lack of quality. It's about the manager's mentality to get us across the line. That is my only concern. And it's not about whether this team or squad's now stronger or good enough. It's not about whether this squad compares to some of the best in the world. It's not about whether this manager is a good coach, a great coach, or a wonderful coach. It's about the mentality of the players and manager. I think they've proven they're good players and coaches. I think they've proven that they can beat teams. My problem is when it matters and the pressure. And really and truly, the pressure hasn't really had to have got to us yet. You don't really feel pressure in October or December. You feel pressure March, April, May. And this is where it starts now. And my biggest concern really is that we need to try and keep this squad fit and fresh, because there's a difference. Fit means you can play a game. Fresh means you're looking like you can play 90. And I don't think either of those things have happened this season for Arsenal. And now we're going to see whether or not we can do that. I think that there's got to be minutes in the legs for Lewis Skelly and Norgard. There's got to be minutes in the legs for Madueke in the next few games, because for me, we're going to get to April, May, and they're all going to be burnt out. Now, you rightly said that those individuals up top yesterday were poor. I thought that's an understatement. I thought they were shocking, every single one of them. I thought they were an embarrassment.
They were bad, weren't they?
Look, Saka scored a good goal, but really and truly it hit someone and went through the keeper's legs. Other than that, I didn't think he did much. I thought Martinelli and Trossard were trying to audition for who could be the worst, if I'm honest. Eze, I don't know where that was he playing. I mean, completely invisible again. And I've seen some shockers from Gyökeres, but that was right up there with one of the worst. I thought his touch was poor. I thought he was a robot, like turning round.
He can't beat a man, Dan, can he? Sorry to disrupt you, but I watched it against. I see him against Chelsea when he was stood up 1-on-1, and I'm going, go past him, and he just gets dispossessed so easily. The defender just stays on his feet.
It's like, you know, when you're on YouTube, if you watch something back, you can. I know Kenny's not been a fan for months, but you know, if you watch something on YouTube, you can, if you want to now, or on WhatsApp, you can listen to a voice note and you can put it on times 1.5 or times 2.
Yeah.
Well, Gyökeres is like putting him on minus 2.5, isn't it? Where everything is slow as fuck, you know, like
when you're having to read a boring conversation at like slow speed.
Yeah. Like just right, whip it into him, right? Control it now. Control it now. Okay, go forward with it now. Oh no, you've lost it again. It is the most incriminating, frustrating thing to watch with a centre forward. And look, I was a big fan of him. I wanted him. You know, maybe I didn't watch enough of him, but I truly believed that he could have come in and score goals because it's worth taking a punt when you've got 97 goals in 2 years. But I'm starting to wonder what he is going to improve on his game because I'm not really seeing much improvement. I'm seeing cut a handful of goals. I'm not in the camp of my striker. He'll get it there. I'm just not really seeing it. And I do hate to say this, but I think we looked better when we had Havertz on, and that weren't saying much because I didn't think he was great either. Like some people are making out, like he was the absolute like next level when he came on. I mean, he controlled the ball better and he went down the channel once. That was it. He still took forever to take a shot down the left-hand side, which I think
he's still not the answer going forward.
He still ain't the answer.
No.
But look, just to close, I think when we look back at this in May and we've lifted something, if that's going to happen, I won't look at Odegaard or Reza. I won't look at Havertz or Gyökeres, and I won't look at Saka, Madueke, Trossard and Martinelli. But I will look at Gabriel. I will look at Saliba. I will look at Timber. I will look at Nkapia, even Calafiori. I will look at the likes of Raya. And I'll say they're the reason we've won, along with Declan Rice and Zubimendi. Yeah. So, disagreed me and you have agreed on Zubimendi. I quite like what he does, albeit I do agree that there are games where he totally loses the ball or totally loses out. And I think some of those have come away from home. I think he's had his better games at the Emirates, if I'm honest, as opposed to away from home. But I do think the pair of them complement each other when they're two pistons of an engine. I don't like it when Rice is in the 8 and Zubi's in the 6 and all this kind of stuff. I'd rather them just both be box-to-box midfielders and go up and down like Gilberto Silva and Vieira did. And just lastly on Gabriel, he's easily my player of the season. Like, I know people have said Declan Rice and Raya and Timber, but for me, Gabriel, he is going to be, if we win something, DJ, we might not look back in history and say, bloody hell, like that ain't got, you know, that was the team that everyone wants to be. We won't do that. We probably won't be remembered by many people, but we remembered that we won it that year. But he's the one player that I will remember from this season because I think he's been pivotal defensively and offensively from set pieces. And last night, for me, I don't think it was close about who was player of the match. I thought that was one of his best players in an Arsenal shirt, period. And it weren't just his quality on the ball and his defending. It was his attributes outside of that and that were off the pitch. So it was his mentality. It was his leadership qualities. It was his passion, his aggression, his desire. That you don't need to be a quality player to possess those qualities. And his attributes last night proved that. I thought he was outstanding. And when I come off the pitch, I'm looking at them all and I'm thinking, you fucking want this, don't you? You actually really want this. And the other one who deserves a mention is Nkapia. But I'll be honest with you, mate, I think he's been good for about 8 games now. He's been very, very good. I mean, I'm very, very impressed with him. And right now, people said, you know, Calafiori gets ahead of Lewis Skelly. Well, I think Nkapia gets ahead of Calafiori and Lewis Skelly at the moment. I think he's been very good. And the other thing with him is he goes forward, and I like him going forward. So, yeah, big fan of what we saw defensively from those two. But the rest, there's question marks, mate.
Yeah, no, I agree. They just get it, don't they? I mean, Gabriel Kenny just gets it, doesn't he? He just gets what it does to be a defender at Arsenal. You know, I'm not going to start comparing him with the greats that we've had at the, you know, like the Sol Campbells, the Tony Adams and all of that. But mentally, you've got his attitude and his attributes. And I'm with Dan. I think yesterday capped it for me that he deserves my player of the season because I see a lot in Gabriel yesterday that I thought to myself, he really does want this title and it means a lot to him. What are you saying on the individual performances? I know you're a big fan of Gyökeres, Kenny, and all that. You know, that's...
Well,
what are you saying on individual performances? Because I'm worried about the team, but I've got to be honest. I know there's 8 games we've got one hand on the trophy, and I do believe now after yesterday we'll probably go on to win it. However, there's still a lot of question marks on certain players.
Well, you're 100% right. You're 100% right in everything you've said. And first and foremost, the star is the system. You know, and if we win things because of the system, no individual was really stood out except for probably our defenders and maybe at times our goalkeeper. It's quite unique what we're doing is because somehow we scored. I think we scored our 100th goal yesterday. Somehow, which is pretty weird. But somehow we scored our 100th goal. Somehow we got the best goal difference, and some by about. I think we got about 6 goals. Which somehow I don't know why.
I don't know.
But that's in spite of the performance of our forward line. Our forward line is really bad. It's really bad. And it's not, and it's been really bad all season. I mean, don't fall for this absolute rubbish. I mean, and I've argued with quite a few people I like as well, when they go on about Victor Gyökeres. He scored 15 goals this season, his first season. That's got to be the biggest lie and biggest myth. That's got to be the biggest myth since. Wait for it. Germany won, England 5 in September 2001. When we all thought that England team was going to win the World Cup, when we thought Sven-Göran Eriksson was going to be a top coach, but all Sven-Göran Eriksson did, God bless his soul, was chase women in the FA, and he didn't do much. That has got to be the biggest myth ever, where he scored goals in clutches, he scored goals against very poor sides. Yet that performance, I wasn't outraged by it because I've seen it. I've seen it many times before, many times, and I've been trying to tell you that his first touch is absolute rubbish. That he can't hold the ball up. When he's in one-on-ones, everyone knows that he isn't going to get past his man.
Interrupting you, Kenny. I've never seen a forward at Arsenal, even Lee Chapman, dispossessed so easily by an average defender.
Lee Chapman, I don't know. He probably used his feet as a stand just to keep his balance up because he was mainly like man with the headers. But Gyökeres is so bad. He's bad. He's not an Arsenal player, but that because there was no excuses that some of the people who do believe in Victor, and I want Victor to do well, but it was the system's fault. It was Mikel's fault. It was Saka's fault. They passed him. Saka in the first half put a beautiful ball in the box.
Yeah, right across. You've got to anticipate that as a striker.
He didn't have to drag it back. If you put a ball like that in the box, your striker should go bang. He should be smelling it. What was he? Where am I? Oh, I'm a monster. Nowhere. I'm sorry, but we have to call this out. We have to call this out because this season, if we do win things, yes, we're going to celebrate. We're going to enjoy our celebrations. All 3 of us, I'm sure, are going to be there. But when it gets to July, reality's got to kick in. We have to look at the people who've helped us, and we have to move on and say, right, teams are going to work us out next season because that's what teams do. They do it with Man City. They did it with Man United. They did it with Liverpool. They're going to work us out next season, and the way this system is not going to be sustainable. So we have to try and play another way. We have to get other players in and say thank you to the players who've taken us where we are and look at the situation. We've got to look at the forward situation. If we really probably have to get someone who gets someone who's probably got the best, who's probably can play the Arsenal way, and then left-hand side without a shadow of doubt needs to be looked at, and maybe covering the right-hand side as well. And in midfield, the number 10 situation has got to be looked at because, as I said before, it's not sustainable. Now, me and Darren get on like an house on fire, and he's talking about the Tottenham game. And I respect, and you're right, Darren. But if a team doesn't mark you and a team doesn't press you and leaves space and then basically gets the white flag out in one of the biggest games of their season, of course you're going to look $1 million. I mean, Eze didn't have a shot on goal 2 weeks ago.
He's frustrating.
A lot of time he had a shot on goal when he scored a 2 against Spurs was in the game, the corresponding fixture when he got a hat trick against Brighton. Eze wasn't able to, get us up the field. He wasn't able to, like I said, create anything. But what he did do is that he did do the physical work, which again would put him in good stead with his manager. But all I'm trying to say is that you have to look at all the sides, and you've got to look at this long term. And long term, questions have to be asked, because I hear people saying it's not going to be sustainable. No, it won't be. It may not be sustainable this season. It might not even be sustainable in the League Cup final or in Europe. Because I always say now, teams have had a good look at us in Europe. And there's no way Bayer Leverkusen or any team we meet is going to play like they did in the group stage and try and play us at football, which a lot of teams did in the group stage. So what we need to do is that, first and foremost, we just have to carefully manage the fitness and the health of our players, and maybe rotation may come into it. But the problem is with rotation, the players we need to rotate are the players that we can't do without, i.e. Declan Rice in that midfield. He's not playing well. He's not doing anything of any kind of significance, but he's just there.
He'd be a miss though, wouldn't he? I mean, even Declan Rice not playing well. He's still a key. Still key in that midfield.
Ain't all that. His set pieces ain't all that.
Yeah.
And that's it. People said, what striker will we get the flow shown in the system? We had the striker. We were tracking him for 2 years, and then somehow we pulled the plug on him.
Yeah,
that's where I stand. I'm not talking about who's better. I'm just talking about this system, because when we did get Victor in and we got Eze in, I thought about Mikel first and foremost in the system, and I'm yet to be convinced that they'll fit into the system.
I've got to be honest with you though, Kenny. As much as I agree with you that we've been trying to track Sesko for 2 seasons, we went for Gyökeres. I wanted Gyökeres over Sesko, but if that's truly who they wanted, and they believed the system was going to work with Sesko, I just don't believe they would. I've got to be honest. I look at Sesko and I think he looks all right. Don't think he looks ready now. He scored about 6-7 goals for Man United, I think.
I agree with you in that, but I think what they were looking at Eugenio Sesko, it was like a project signing, and what the project signing is that it's what they thought he was going to. They think he's going to be in about 2 or 3 years' time, because they looked at what he could do. They looked at the fact he can hold the ball up. They looked at the fact that he's got a lot of pace, which is quite deceptive. And they looked at the rawness of it all. Whilst they wanted Victor as a finished article, and they looked at Victor's record, which was unbelievable. Doesn't matter what league it is. 100 goals in nearly 100 goals in 2 seasons. You've got to look at it. But unfortunately, you've got to factor in that he's no Haaland. And you've seen how Haaland, Man City are able to fit Haaland in that system, because he just scores goals. He's a robot. And that helps.
You know what it is though, Kenny, as well, is I appreciate Louis not going to get another Haaland. I don't think you'll ever get another Haaland. I think he's honestly one of the best goal scorers I've ever seen.
Well, sorry, cutting Dan. One thing I will say, and I apologise to the chat as well for cutting in on Dan. One thing about Haaland, he's probably one of the reasons why Man City might not win the league, because this is one of the most unspoken facts which people haven't got the nuts to talk about. He's going for he is part of the problem. He's not scoring goals. He's not contributing, and that's why Man City are not challenging us the way they should be. No,
I agree. I think in the last 15 games, I think he's got like a handful of goals, which is unheard of for Haaland. But I can't talk because I was one of these people. But for those that said it's just the Portuguese league, and I was one of these people who said that's harsh, because look, I don't know anybody else in Portugal that scored 100 goals in 2 games. Well, what I can do is tell you that looking at the stats here, they've replaced Gyökeres in Portugal, Sporting Lisbon, with 28-year-old Luis Suarez, not the Luis Suarez we know. And he scored 22 goals in 23 games over there. Now, that to me proves that the Portuguese league ain't that great, because maybe they were right. Darwin Núñez got 40 or whatever it was. Gyökeres has got the same. He's 50-odd goals in a season. And this Suarez kid's walked in at 28 years old, failed everywhere else, has gone over there, and he's got 22 and 23. So maybe the Portuguese league ain't right. What it doesn't do, however, though, is prove that we haven't quite got the striker situation right. We haven't. They're all pretty crap, basically. They're not all crap. They're all okay. Let's just say it how it is. They're all pretty good. You know, Aubameyang was good. Lacazette was good, as are the ones we've got now. They're not great.
What about Adebayor?
If I'm honest, they won't. Oh no, I'm talking about Arteta. I'm talking about Arteta.
But if we go back, the last striker I thought that looked the part was Adebayor. He had everything we needed. And I thought
I liked Adebayor. Some people didn't. I liked him.
They thought because of what they thought he was. I'm going to upset a lot of people. He was levels above Aubameyang. He was levels above Aubameyang.
As in terms of what, as an all-round footballer,
everything,
or what?
Everything. Yeah. He scored that season when we
agree that Aubameyang was a better goal scorer, though, because I'd agree that Aubameyang was a better goal scorer.
He is. He is. If he got his shit together, he will be. Aubameyang is not a top class striker. He's a good finisher, but Aubameyang, when you think about the praise he got, Aubameyang, I'm going to say something controversial, but I'll back it because I've got big muscles. I've got a big gob. I'm on as hard as F. All right.
Father Christmas don't exist.
Yeah, Father Christmas doesn't exist. The tooth fairy's me, and.
What's your opinion on Eddie Boyle? Because I slightly disagree with you there.
Alexis Sanchez, Aubameyang, and Ozil were big fishes in small ponds. There you go on the table.
Yeah. Well, there you go. But I listen. All I know is the strikers under this manager are really, really struggling. I was with Dan. I think we said it on his show around about many times. We want Gyökeres. We said it when we was at the Emirates. We want Gyökeres. Everyone wanted Gyökeres. You know, when we signed, we was, well, not me and you, Kenny, but they was all giving it the celebrations, and we want to see this around the Emirates. I'm just looking at him. Apart from his goals, see what you got to do. You got to ask the question, right? If a striker's not scoring, what else can he bring to the party? Can he get an assist? Can he get shots off to get corners, win free kicks, win penalties? You know, can he bring other players into the game? Can he go past players? Can he open the game up? Can he create space for other players? And I'm not really seeing any of that on a consistent basis. But I don't want to make him the fall guy, because Martinelli, again, you can't play him for 90 minutes. Trossard literally looks bang average again. He's gone back into how he was. Then Saka's not really performing. So Eze, again, wanted Eze. Dan wanted Eze. You wanted Eze. Everyone wanted Eze. We're only seeing Eze turn up against Tottenham. If we play Tottenham every week, then I'll have Eze all day long. But when the going gets tough and the tough gets going, you need players like that to step up. And unfortunately, he doesn't step up. But anyway, I mean, we're 7 points clear. We've got people talking about quads and all of this nonsense, Dan, and we're going to win the quad. Maybe not the quad. What can we actually realistically win? Treble? Double? What do you think we can do? Or will we just run out with the Premiership and be done with it? What do you honestly believe we can win?
Yeah, what do I believe we can win and what do I think we'll win? I believe we can win the double, and that was the Carabao Cup and the Premier League. What I think we'll win is I think we will probably win one of those. And if I had to put my hat on it now, it's very hard. I'd just edge it towards the Premier League, I think, because the Carabao Cup is literally a flip of a coin. I like our record at Wembley. I think that will definitely help. Pep's lost the last two cup finals against Palace and United, and Arteta's never lost at Wembley as a player or manager. So that's got to be a good thing. However, when I look at what we're going for, I do want the Premier League, but I also look at that cup final and badly want that first. And I think that although I don't believe if we lost that, we wouldn't win the league, if we won it, I'd be even more confident that we could win that. So I will go for that as the two that I think that we could have the best chance with. Now, people will talk about the other two competitions. One, I think is a little bit too early yet still, I must admit. I do think it's a bit early to look at who's favourites for Champions Leagues and FA Cups and stuff. Because last season, PSG, I never had them winning the Champions League when they come 16th in the group stage and we bashed them 2-0. FA Cup, likewise, I've got to see who's left in it. But right now, I'd like to fancy us to go through to Mansfield. The position I'd like to be in, boys, right? We've got a poxy international break again soon, which Kenny loves and I hate. But we've got that coming up soon at the end of March, right? Once we get to, let's say, the 1st of April, let's say it's April Fool's Day. That's one we all like, right? If we get to April Fool's Day, I would like to be in the quarterfinals of both the FA Cup and the Champions League. And I'd like to have won the Carabao Cup and be top of the league by at least 4 to 5 points of Manchester City. That's the scenario I would like to be in. People would look at that and say, yeah, and I also want Man City to have lost to Newcastle and Real Madrid and be out of those two so they can only have the league. And some people might look at that and think that's awful because Man City then all literally just got the league to play for. So they've only got 8 games left of the season, or whatever it be, sorry. Probably 7 games left of their season. So I want to have won those 2 competitions at the bare minimum because I think they're the 2 that we should win now. I think we should beat City because on our day, on a one-off game, I think we've got the better squad. And I think we should beat them in the league because, again, I think we've got the better squad. FA Cup and Champions League on top of that. The reason that's hard is because you're now slotting in more games to try and win those games either side of the Premier League ones that we've got to go for. That's why it gets very difficult. So we're going to get to a stage where we play West Ham and we're like, yeah, go out for West Ham. Oh, shit, but we've got Liverpool in the next round of the FA Cup a few days after that. Oh, and then we've got bloody Sporting Lisbon or Bodo, whatever it's going to be if we do get past 11. Oh, this is getting hard. What do we do? How do we juggle with this?
Do we rotate? Who do we drop?
Yeah,
who
plays what? What do we do? Rice is on knackered. How do we play him? But he can't miss Liverpool, Rice. He's got to play that one. That's when it starts getting difficult. So that's why I'm not going trebles, quadruples, all this crap. For me, just win this league. And I would like to have won the Carabao Cup. So I think we can juggle the Carabao Cup and the Premier League because we're only 1 game off of that, right? When you start to look at it, you know, Christian messaged me today and he's all believing again and stuff, saying, well, you know, we're only sort of nine wins off a double, I think he said, or whatever it was. Or
yeah,
he's 12 off a treble or something. You know,
yeah,
that's fair to look at it like that. And I'd love to be like that. I've got to be honest. I'd love to be more. I admire how people are like that. You know, I think sometimes I can be a little bit glass half empty, but I just go with what I've seen and previously what I go for. But
we've just been speaking about it, Dan. Players are looking tired. Players are looking tired. You know, and I think the manager might be looking at it and going, right, what is a priority for us? Do we want the FA Cup? Do we want, you know? Do you know what I mean? I've got to juggle this. You know,
the manager's got to put his belief and priority in both those 2 first. He can't look at the FA Cup or Champions League yet. I'm sorry, he can't go all out in those games like Mansfield. He's got to rotate. Leverkusen, he's got to get players off. If we can get ourselves ahead, that kind of stuff. But the 2 that we should be going all out for is winning that cup final and then winning the Premier League. They're the 2 we've got to go all out for, in my opinion. And if the Champions League and the FA Cup come a long way, then wow, we'd have an unbelievable season that's memorable. But I know me and you, DJ, want the Champions League, but for this season, now that I've seen us go 7 points, I think I'm taking the league over the champs now, just because we can't throw this league away, man. No. We just can't now. You know, start of the season is different. Which one do you want? Well, I want one of the big ears because I've never seen it. But if you put yourself 7 points clear, I can't lose that to sacrifice that if I can only have one. You know what I'm saying? So that's where
I see where you're coming from. And that, I was thinking of that last night, to be honest, when the dust had settled and I was looking at the league table. Everyone knows that follows me, and when I've been on channels, it's Champions League, Champions League, Champions League. But I'm with you, Kenny. We're in the final, so that's to give me in the Carabao Cup. We ain't got to stress about that. We just got to worry about that on the day. So we haven't got to do all this rotating business, and we've still got time after the Carabao Cup, probably to rest players in certain games or pick a squad accordingly. But where are you at now? Because obviously, you know, and people are saying it, winning the quad and all of that, and they get a little bit with me, they get a bit away with the fairies with it. They don't look at it realistically, but it's up to them. Kenny, is there a treble on? Is there a double on? I mean, teams have done it. And, you know, Man United's have done it. Man City's have won trebles. So is it on? What can we realistically win?
Well, we're in every competition, isn't it? We're in the competitions that matter. We're in the final of Carabao Cup. The FA Cup has been very kind to us.
Yeah.
Can you imagine it? Mansfield. But it's going to get interesting because Liverpool play Wolves. Will Wolves do it again? Or will Liverpool think, right, no more messing around? And you got Man City, Newcastle. I still think Man City will beat Newcastle. Then you got a London derby with West Ham and Brentford. I think Brentford win that because West Ham priorities will be the league. And then we got Fulham versus Southampton. Fulham are going to beat Southampton, and then Wrexham will lose to Chelsea. And then and then Leeds. I think Leeds are in the.
Leeds City. I don't know who City have got. Are they?
Leeds have got a home draw, so they should win that. And then Sunderland have got a home draw. So you think about the 8 teams that we think are going to be there. We're going to have obviously Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Brentford, Chelsea, Fulham, Sunderland, and Leeds. There are games. Even play any of those teams at home. So that's an hard game. So anything can happen, and it's a draw that matters. In the Champions League, I think it's going to be a lot harder than it looks. Even though we got the favourable draw, even though we're guaranteed to have the second leg at home, it's still going to be pressurised. And the thing about it is that it's a big physical ask to do everything, because to win all those competitions that we're asking our players to bring home, we have to virtually play our best team. And the only thing we've spoken about in all our podcasts is player fatigue, rotation. We got to rest Declan Rice. We've got to rest Bukayo Saka. If you want to go for a quadruple, you can't rest those players, can you?
No.
So physically, our lack of probably mentally, I think we'd be up for it, but physically we can't do it. Physically, we cannot win the quadruple. It's not. No matter how well we play, physically, a fitter team and a fresher team will beat us.
Yeah, no, facts. And that's what worries me with the Leverkusen game next week, because I'm seeing now, I mean, I'll give you an example. Last night's game, I just had the feeling if Brighton had equalised, I was looking at players to sort of like go up that extra gear to try and get the winner and stuff like that. And I was looking towards like your Eze's and your Rices and Zubamendi's and all of that. I'm thinking, please, if Brighton equalise here, they could go on to get the winner here, because we're done. We don't look as if we can sort of take punishment and then turn the game on its head. We don't look as if we can go up that next gear, Dan. And I think going into the Champions League against Leverkusen, if they get a 2-goal advantage going into the second leg, have we got the energy to pull round 3 goals at the Emirates now? It worries me when I look at that.
I don't know the last time that I was confident Arsenal was going to score 3 or 4. I've got to be honest with you. I mean, against Tottenham, we did it home and away. And against Leeds, we did it home and away. We've been good in the Champions League. We stuck 3 past Inter, 4 past Atletico and Bayern. But I can't remember the last time I looked at a run of games and thought Arsenal looked free-flowing. It probably was back then when we had Bayern, Spurs and Atletico. And that was a while ago. And believe it or not, we had Mourinho up front in those games, I believe. So when you look at it right now, Arsenal trying to score goals, it seems to be difficulty. Unless, of course, it's against a Kairat or a Wigan of late. We've got the opportunity to do that against Mansfield. We have. But let's be real. That's the only one I'd say I've got confidence in, is scoring more than 2 goals. So that's a worry. And that is a style thing, DJ. Like yesterday, right, I watched Arsenal. And last night we had a free kick in the first half. It was on the left-hand side, probably about halfway between the halfway line and the penalty area. And everyone's gone forward to be whipped in. Declan Rice passes it sideways to Eze, and Eze passes it back to Yuri and Timber. So we've now gone back to our right back when we've got a chance to whip it in and have a chance of making it 2-0. That has got to be a system style thing, instructions and direction from the manager. There's no way you can tell me that Declan Rice wants to pass that to Eze and Eze wants to pass it back. There's absolutely no way that they want to do that. I've never seen Declan Rice or Eze do that at Palace or West Ham, and I've never seen any of the players that have been a part of this Arsenal side before Arteta or prior to when they were playing at their other clubs before we signed them want that to happen. That has got to be a keep it calm, keep the control of the football. Now, I wouldn't mind, bruv, if we were able to do that and it'd be quite comfortable, but we haven't been able to control some of these games of late. We haven't been controlling the Brighton game or controlling the Chelsea game. Controlling many of the games other than Spurs of late. So when I look at the scenario of Wolves 2-0, try and control it and see it out, we end up drawing 2-2. Same with Brentford, 1-0 up.
I don't know how we haven't lost then, to be honest. When I've looked at sorry to interrupt you, bruv, but when I've looked at the games you've just mentioned and what you've just said about controlling games and passing the free kick short, I mean, you've got Gorkarez in there who we've just said, like, who's a goal scorer. You send all your big guns up and you knock it square and it ends up back in our own box, which is crazy. And I agree with you. But, like, this is what I'm trying to say. It is worrying, isn't it? Because it is a system thing, isn't it? He's keeping possession. Is that because he's panicking? He's now kind of
what he's doing is he's going 1-0 up, and he's saying, "Keep control of the football. Allow us to control this game." The problem you've got is when you go 1-0 up, teams are going to have a go at you. Otherwise, they're going to lose the game. So what they're doing is they're then inviting pressure and coming onto us. And I actually don't think that's where Arsenal are good. People say, "Oh, go 1-0 up. It's brilliant," because then the other team have to attack. That puts us under pressure because of the way that we're set up and we play. We basically go 1-0 up and we say to Brentford and Wolves, "Go on in, your turn. Let's see how good you are." Oh, bollocks, they've just scored. Shit, now we better go and attack again. Yeah. Then we have to go and attack and go 2-1 up, and then they go, "Come on in, let's see." Oh, it's 2-2 now. Let's go. That's how he seems to want to play. So what frustrates me is when we go 1-0 up, we don't go for that kill for the second. When we get a free kick, we'd rather pass it back to Timber at 1-0 and keep it 1-0. Why don't we float it into Gabriel Z and see if we can make it 2 and kill the game off? We weren't able to do that against Wolves, Brentford or Chelsea, and it's cost us really. I mean, Chelsea it didn't, but Wolves and Brentford it did. And like, let's be real, I've not looked at one game this season that Arsenal have got the result right. I've never ever this season, when the final whistle was blown, gone, "Oh, that's such an unfair result that we should have won and we drew." I think we deserve to draw against Wolves. We deserve to draw against Brentford. We deserve to draw against Sunderland. We deserve to lose to Villa. We deserve to lose to Man United. These weren't unfair results, by the way. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? On paper, Kenny, we should be beating those teams. Don't get me wrong. But it ain't played on paper. And unfortunately, we ain't set up ourselves to go and win a game 2 or 3-0 often enough this year.
A lot of it is a combination of Mikel's preference. The system is a star. Another thing as well is one thing he'll be the first person to know that his forward line isn't functioning at the moment, isn't good enough to take us over the line. And the reason why we are under a lot of pressure, we're not killing teams, is because we're spending a lot of time defending, and our players have to work hard off the ball because nothing's coming up top. There are many instances where Trossard came on, did nothing, didn't affect the game. Saka stopped affecting the game. Havertz, I know it's a harsh thing to say, but Havertz tried to do something, and the little he did was probably more than Victor. That's not putting Victor down. That's just stating the facts. And there are now people saying that maybe Havertz is the one who's going to score the winning goals because he's the one who's got the technique and everything. But that's who we are at the moment. It's a combination of Mikel and our lack of fitness. There's going to be, situations where Declan Rice is going to have to bite the bullet. I'll tell you one thing, he's not going to play against Mansfield, but against Leverkusen, you think about the next, after Mansfield, what we're doing to Declan Rice. If we want to sort of like say he's a guy at heart of the side, he's going to have a robust game away in Leverkusen, another robust game against Everton, and then if it's a situation where you have to win against Leverkusen, he's going to have another robust game, and he's going to play on a heavy pitch at Wembley. And then Tuchel says, "Hey, mate, I'm still not sure about my midfield three because even though you're a top player, I'm only going to play Elliot Anderson in the number 6 position, and it's going to be Jude Bellingham. So there's another place in there. Yeah, you're the front runner, but Cole Mainu is coming back to form. Cole Palmer, Phil Foden. So I'm going to need you to show that you're committed to this campaign because Tuchel don't give a damn about us. All Tuchel cares about is winning that World Cup in America, Canada and Mexico. So that's another pressure. And then when we get to the FA Cup quarter final, I promise you, if we play a top team, a Chelsea away, a Liverpool or home or away, or Man City, any of those Premiership teams, he's playing.
Yeah, it's a worry, isn't it? It is a worry. I'm just really glad. I'm so glad we got a 7-point buffer because boy, we need it. We really do need it. On the things we've just been talking about, players looking tired, and the games we've got coming up. 100% we need it. Looking ahead on Mansfield, guys. I know we're going to come to an end soon, but looking ahead on Mansfield. But big up the chat, big up everyone that's locked in. Make sure you sub into all the guests and everything. Big up Martin for your super chat, DJB and Dan, the Encyclopedia, Kenny Ken. Big up to you, Martin, as always. And big up to everyone that's locked in. There's 177 locked in. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Just make sure you slap a like. It does help the channel. Max Dowman is back from fitness, Dan. Me and you are massive fans of this kid. I think he's going to be a great future for Arsenal if he gets the opportunities. I'm hoping he'll start against Mansfield. But looking ahead, what do we do with the likes of Max Dowman? Because under this manager, we've seen youngsters come through. We've seen the Reece Nelsons, Emil Smith-Rowe, if you like. Skelly now looks like he's fallen out the back door. Wanyeri hasn't really got a tune out of him. He's had to go out on loan. Do you fear for this young kid under Mikel Arteta and the way he plays, or do you think he's going to get his chance against Mansfield, and do you think he's going to play a key role going forward next season?
Well, it's weird, isn't it? Because Mikel Arteta was on the verge of leaving or getting sacked back when he was bottom of the league 3 games in, and everyone thought he's done. He's done for. And then he was relying on the likes of Emil Smith-Rowe, Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli. And back then there was a few others, mate, in Niles, Joe Willock, that had always, come into the mix as well. So I thought he's going to really appreciate some of the young players coming through. And although I believe he's given them a chance and opportunity, the likes of the players you've just mentioned, he ain't trusted them to stay in the squad or give them minutes, Lewis Skelly being one of them, Ethan Nwaneri being another. And I don't really think that's the right thing to have done. I don't think Lewis Skelly's had a good season, and I don't think that's his fault. I don't think he's been outstanding individually in his performances like he has in some, but I don't think he's been trusted or given the confidence or belief that he's been welcomed enough or reassured in this squad. Ethan Nwaneri should never have been put out on loan, in my opinion. I think he's better than Noni Madueke on the right, in my opinion, but he doesn't believe that.
Same.
But something's telling me that Max Dowman might be a little bit different. I just think there's special talent there, which might overrule the worry, if that makes sense. I think Ethan was definitely not trusted off the ball by Mikel Arteta, which I think is why he's gone to try and learn his trade elsewhere. Lewis Skelly, I don't think was really ever a left back. I think he was doing a job there, and I think it was quite clear that he was going to be upgraded upon in that position. But I felt like he might have played him in midfield to rest the likes of Rice and Zubimendi by now, and he's not done that. With Max Dowman, I just think he's too good not to play him in certain games, by the way. And I'm not saying start 90 minutes. I don't think he will start him at the weekend. I think he'll come on from the bench. But I'll say this. I think what Max Dowman brings and what we will bring if he does stay fit is I think he'll contribute to a few games like he did at the start of this season. And I think by the end of this season, you'll see him coming on in the last 15. Because what Max Dowman does is he causes absolute chaos. They don't really know what they're doing. They've just got to hack this kid. That's all they can do. And the amount of fouls he wins is scary. And the amount of penalties that he's won in the little time that we've seen, whether it be in pre-season or in games, has been quite frightening. Now, when you look at his position, I think probably he is a central attacking 10 in his future. But right now, I quite like the fact that he's come on the right-hand side, because I think what he's done is not just cause that chaos, but he's given that kind of pass to something that we've needed for quite some time. And that is the vision, the creativity, and the drive forward. He's got intent to attack. And I like that. You know, I liked it ever since I saw him destroy Joe Linton that time in the preseason against Newcastle, where he just shaking his head going, I can't keep up with this kid. He's unreal. And that for me proves that, you know, it proves to me that he's got some ability and he's got a future in his side. So I don't worry about it. I just felt like in pre-season he was our best player, not just one of our bright sparks. Thought he was our best player. And I know a lot of people disagreed with me when they said this, but I would have just actually given him a run in the side. Now, the other thing that you've got to worry about and concern with Max Dowman is that when you get an injury like he's just had, which was quite a nasty one from what I understand, not one that's got to be worried about his long-term future, but certainly one that kept him out for a few weeks. When you're 21, 22, and you get an injury like that, you're able to get on each time, each day, each week with your recovery. He's still at school, this kid. So when he gets an injury like he's had, he's got to go about his day with his injury, going to school. He can't do all this. I mean, look, I'm not saying this because I know what I know it. I don't know the insides and out of the club. I'm only guessing. This kid's got to go to school and he's got an injury and they're trying to get him back on the field. Like, that's very, very difficult to do, isn't it? You know what I mean? When you're a 22, 23-year-old,
kid's got to do PE lessons.
Room, you know what I mean? He's got to do his music lessons.
It's GCSE year for him.
Yeah, it will be. I think it is.
He needs to be revising. He's revising.
He should be at home revising for his exams in June. Yeah, but I do worry about that kind of thing. I think that's not spoken about enough. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's a kid at school that's got. I think
do you think Rooney's got GCSEs?
Who?
Do you think Rooney's got GCSEs?
Rooney, I don't know what Rooney. I don't know what GCSEs.
Can you imagine Rooney's GCSE results? Was it what school did you go? De La Salle in Crotchliffe in Liverpool. I bet that was UFF.
Yeah, he could probably spell fudge with his results.
Yeah, I don't think he's too bothered, Kenny. But yeah,
I heard that John Terry is. We'll save it for after the show.
Oh yeah.
But he's only just turned 16, hasn't he? So he's in his last year at school, I think. So he will be having his GCSEs. But he's in his last year of school and he's been phenomenal for us. I'm excited about seeing him in the next coming months. I'm hoping that he can come and make some contribution. I personally would rather be, and I mean this, and I don't mean disrespect to Noni Madueke, because I don't think he's a horrific player, but I don't like that signing for 52 million. No. And when we've got Dowman and Nwaneri that could be playing and getting minutes, I just think it's a bit of a weird signing still, that one. But I've got to be honest, like, for me, I'm excited when I see Nwaneri and Dowman play, and I'd rather see them more than I would Noni Madueke. But I don't think we're going to. I think we're going to see Madueke alongside the likes, instead of the likes of Nwaneri. Dowman, I think he actually wants to try and bring him on and utilise him a little bit more. So I hope that he does contribute and we see a bit more of him. But at the weekend, I don't think he'll start him. I think he'll bring him on.
You know, it is with Max Dowman. It's the risk factor, isn't it? If teams do try and put us under pressure, especially do you remember the Sunderland game when we went 2-1 up? We were under the cosh. How's he world class? He's only a kid. LSD, of course. SLD, of course. I thought it was serious. It's him again, isn't it? Anyway. Do you remember that time when, even though we need to kill it off, I couldn't imagine the manager picking Max Dowman, and there was quite a few other players like Ranieri, and I thought it was like he looked at the bench and think, right, we're under the cosh, risk. You know what I mean? And it wasn't what he could do from an attacking point of view. Is that we needed to stop the crosses coming in, because I know that if Max Dowman came on that right hand side, I know Sunderland went, hello, mate, we're going to run off him. We're not going to go for in the middle. We're going that side. And then what will happen is that our defenders have to be dragged out to help him out. And that, again, will create chaos. And I think that's why, from an attacking point of view, it's a beautiful story. But when we're under caution, under pressure, how we're playing, I do think that that he'll see Max as a risk.
Yeah. I can't see him getting much game time next season. But what really frustrates me is, there are players that we need to get rid of out the door. I mean, for me, Martinelli would be one, Trossard would be one, Jesus definitely would be one. I'd probably look at Ben White, even though he hasn't really done a lot wrong in an Arsenal shirt, but all fairness to him. But with the likes of Dowman and Wanyeri, I just feel that's pound notes in the bank that we've wasted. We could have bought these players on and been a real, we went spent 52 on Noni Madueke when you've got talent like that in the squad, Kenny. It's just, for me, I've never really got my head around it.
I think Noni was bought because of Saka's injury and the fact that it's that the sort of footballing logic said that Saka would go down. Noni was like a like for like replacement. I think he knows that Noni's inconsistent. And that's the thing with Noni. Whatever you say about Noni, one thing's factual. For every 2 games he plays well in, he'll play probably poorly in the next 4. That's the thing with Noni. You have to accept Noni's one of those players. You'll take 2 steps forward and double the steps back. That's him. He was like that at Chelsea. And then when you look at the numbers, people think, well, he scored about 10, 12 for goals, but at what cost?
Yeah, exactly. All I'm looking at next season, just get the trophies in the door, and then I'm looking at next season. I'm looking at proper quality coming in. I want it to be like for like. I don't want players coming off the bench and me thinking, oh, are they good enough? Are they going to do a job? Because it's all right winning trophies, but it's hard. It's hard to go again the following season, as Liverpool's just found out, and as many teams have found out in the past. So for me, I think I need Berta to get the players we need out the door, and I want top quality in the door. But before we close, guys, I just want your little look on this. This is the running Man City's fixtures, our fixtures. If you look at that straight away, what hits you being 7 points clear, most people would probably take our fixtures rather than Man City's, but they do have that extra game in hand. Dan, very, very quickly, I know I've spent you long enough, and big up to everyone in the chat, guys. Make sure you smash a like, follow the subs. All your opinions have been absolutely world class as usual. Big up to every single one of you. Dan, how many points realistically go down the Arsenal? Everton at home, win, draw, loss.
Out of those games, I'll be real to keep it quick for you. I think we drop in 2 of them.
Go on in, Dan.
Now, that's at least 2 of them, by the way, but I'll go with 2 that I think we will. I think we will draw at the Etihad, and I think we'll draw at West Ham.
Really?
And then the others, I'm backing us to beat. I'm backing us to win all of our home games, by the way. The only other one that I struggle with and did as soon as I saw the fixtures come out was our last game of the season against Palace, but I'm hoping we might win it by then. So, yeah, that's what I'm going with. I think we'll drop 2. I think City will drop as well, by the way, but I think we'll drop. I think we'll beat Everton, beat Bournemouth. We'll draw at City. I think we'll beat Newcastle at home and Fulham at home. I think we'll draw to West Ham. I think we'll beat Burnley and Palace. I'm not confident about that because I hate going to Selhurst Park. But I do think that we might be done by then. I think Man City will beat West Ham, but I think they'll drop points at Chelsea, and I think they'll drop points at Bournemouth. They're the 2 that I'm looking at their away fixtures against Chelsea, because Chelsea turn up against Big 6 teams. I think they'll draw against us, and then the other one they'll drop, I think, will be Bournemouth, which will win the league if that happens. But I'm kind of hoping, man. I'm kind of hoping we've got this.
Yeah, it does look favourable. Yeah, I mean, the ones that worry me before I bring in Kenny on this is the Newcastle at home, West Ham away, because I think they might need a point or 3 points to sort of stay in the league. And they're showing a little bit at the moment, West Ham. They're unpredictable. You don't know what you're going to get. And I'm still worried about the Everton game because Everton's away form is really good. And Moisey's got them well organised. So they're the 3 I'm worried about. As for City, I think Chelsea will be a banana skin for them. and I can see them dropping points at Everton, not so much Bournemouth. They're the two I can see them dropping points at. I think Everton's going to play a big part in this title race. Where are you at with them fixtures, Kenny? Do you think are we going to win all our own games? Is there any that are worrying you? And what do you think City will drop?
Well, first and foremost, I think we'll draw with Everton.
Yeah.
I think because Everton, and I think we'll lose to City at the Etihad, and I think we'll draw at West Ham. We'll win every other game. I'm convinced of that. In terms of Man City, I think Man City will draw against Chelsea, but I do think they'll win every other game. I think they will. So wow. Their Achilles heel will be Chelsea away. Bournemouth, I think they'll think they'll see it out. So it could go either way. Just because, but I do think that it could go our way. But I'm not convinced we would win at the Etihad, because I do think that my worry is that I think for us to win the Etihad, we've got to score more than one goal, and I can't see us doing it.
Yeah, I think we'd slip.
That's why I think that Man City would beat us 2-1. You know, and then but they'll win away against Burnley. I think Everton, if they deal with their Everton set pieces, they've got enough quality to win there. Brentford at home, I think they'll beat Brentford, and I think Bournemouth, I think they'll turn them over. But the game where they will drop points, I'm convinced of, will be Chelsea. I'm convinced they'll drop points there. And
so you've got us winning the league by 1 point then, Kenny. I've just done the maths.
I believe so, yes. I believe so, yes. I do think it's going to go into the last day. I believe so.
Okay.
You reckon it's going to go on that last day, how we do against
Without
Palace?
Without a shadow of that. We are more than capable of
that's going to be squeaky. That's
going to be. I want to win it. I want to have won it. I want to have won it at Burnley so we can lift the trophy at home. That's what I want.
It's a nice little story, but you're more likely to be seeing a trophy parade, trophy being awarded at Selhurst Park.
One thing's for sure, I think it'll go down to the wire, but I think the key games now are coming up within the next couple of weeks, to be honest.
Both teams will drop points, guys. Both teams will drop points.
Yeah.
Not because they're poor, it's because physically, just as much as Man City have got, just as much as we got demands on ourselves, let's not forget they're going for the quadruple as well.
Yeah.
That's one of the. That's something
they've got Real Madrid though. That's a pressure game in the Champions League.
You say that, but the fact is that the Real Madrid we become accustomed to under Zidane and Ancelotti isn't there no more. I think they last season in Champions League they didn't have a midfield and we benefit from it. I think this season, if Man City keep the ball and win the midfield battle, they'll win. You can't, because the other day you can have all those flair players at Real Madrid, but you got to get the ball to them.
Yeah, true.
If Mbappe and Bellingham are coming back in midfield to win the ball and then trying to do something from deep, you've won the game. The game's lost. They miss Cross, and they miss Modric. He's the one who got them up the field. He's not there no more, and neither is Toni Kroos.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's. Do you know what? Right, that I'm just looking at the occasion rather than the game on that though, because that's a big occasion. I mean, that's going to take a lot out of the City players. They're going to want to win that just because it's Real Madrid.
What do you think will happen in the Carling Cup final?
Having said that, we're going to have the same pressure with Leverkusen.
Do you think we'll win the Carling Cup final? I mean, honest.
Do I think we'll win the Carling Cup final?
One-off game.
I think that could.
I'll say yes to be confident, but I can't.
My biggest worry is that there's
I'm preparing for penalties, Kenny, already.
You know what's my worry is that their attacking subs are levels above ours in terms of quality.
Yeah,
that's my biggest worry. If the game's tight, and
they've got players to come off the bench and hurt you, aren't you? That's the problem.
I mean, when I see the potential of players like Foden coming off the bench, Cherky, Mamouche, as opposed to Martinelli, Trossard and Madueke, those players. And
Exactly.
it doesn't bode well, does it? But the problem is at the final is that Crystal Palace had a very inferior team to Man City's, but they won it.
Facts. Yeah, exactly. It's a one-off, isn't it? It's a one-off. It's going to be a great occasion. Before we get out of here, let's get this super chat. Big up Netweed as always. See, this is a proper blog headline. Make no mistake, Pep is puffing his fat Ecuador cigar. City have nothing to lose. The pressure is still all on us.
I've got an announcement.
I think the pressure's been on us from the start of the season. Let's just hope we get over the line. But
I've got an important announcement before we go.
Kenny, go on with your announcement.
Right. Sammy Mokbal, who's left the Daily Mail to go to the BBC Sport, has said Nottingham Forest's global head of football, Edu, has been asked to stay away from the club's training ground amid mounting uncertainty over his future. That's big, isn't it? He left Arsenal for a bigger job at Nottingham Forest, being in charge of so many things, and look how it's worked out for him.
Wow. Yeah, still, that'd be really interesting to see why he suddenly left Arsenal, wouldn't it? We've never really got to the bottom of that, and now he's got problems at Nottingham Forest. Who'd have thought, eh? Who would have thought? Who would have thought? He was always a clown, wasn't it? That was never working out, was it, Edu and Arteta? Thank God we got Berta in over the line. That's the biggest signing I think we've made in years. Because if we hadn't have got that guy in, we would not be where we are now. We'd still be throwing money at the likes of Fabio Vieira and people like that. We wouldn't have got Ngabe in the door. We'd have got someone else. And
he bought Victor. He bought Victor, though. He bought Victor.
Well, he did buy Victor, but listen, I think he's even probably shocked by Victor, to be honest with you, because let's be honest, when you look at Victor Gyökeres and look at his CV, you'd be a mug not to sign him if he became available with that goal record. But as I said, you don't know.
Dan and our good friend Albert were advocates of him, and I know they both want him to do well, and we all want him to do well. It's just that sometimes, Victor reminds me of when you go in the kitchen and you see all the ingredients and you can't wait to eat the food. And then when you eat it, it's bland as anything.
Facts. But big up, everyone. Big up, everyone. Thank you for your super chats and everything else. It's been an absolute brilliant show. Thank you very much. 170 odd in as well. Make sure you're smashing the likes. Question for Dan and DJB. Kenny, do you think Gyökeres is better than Havertz and Jesus? Yes or no, Kenny?
He's got a better CV for scoring goals, but Jesus and Havertz are better footballers.
Dan, would you take Havertz?
Totally agree with that.
Same as well, yeah.
Gyökeres has obviously got a better goal scoring.
Can we just say big up to Saka before we go? 300 appearances for Arsenal Football Club. Whether he's been off form or not, he's been absolutely phenomenal, isn't he, really? When you think he's only, 23, 24, and he's made 300 appearances for the football club. Unreal. I don't know what you guys think with Saka, but considering he's off the field value in terms of merchandise, but his field value considering he's a dodgy hamstring. It's one of them, innit, Martin? Is he worth 300? I suppose revenue, what he sells to tourists and all of that, he's the poster boy of Arsenal, isn't he? And whilst that's bringing in the money, I suppose he's worth 300.
For me, let's be honest, I listened to Loose Cannons earlier. Big up to Turkish Jordan and the boys, right? And Jordan said something that was...
Who's on it this week? Who's on it this week? Sophie?
It was Sharoy and Stricto. It was come out today. And literally, I could not believe how good this piece was from Jordan. But basically, he said, if we are going to win this league, we're all going to deserve it, whether it be fans, players, managers, coaching staff, the rest of it. But the one that will deserve it the most is Bukayo Saka, because he's carried us from a teenager. He's proper Arsenal. He's been there through thick and thin already in the last 5-6 years. And he's carried us, as a kid. And he's been there through when it was proper bad in the doldrums. And he deserves it the most. And I could not agree more. I literally am so proud to have the kid. And this season for me has been a tough one for him personally, but it won't be if we win trophies. And that's why I want to win him, because he deserves them, man. I love the kid.
He didn't say he was world class, though, did he?
No, because he's
No,
probably.
thanks, Dan.
I don't know if he believes that he is.
No, thanks, Dan. I mean,
I
look,
know. I met Jordan personally. We had a good laugh at the weigh-in for the first.
I love
Conor
Jordan. He's
fight.
class.
Lovely. We had some good banter. And I asked him some questions. Of course, I asked him the golden nugget question. He wasn't committed though when I asked him if we don't
no,
reach.
but listen, you can't knock what Saka's done. Kenny, sorry, I mean, let's be honest. It's Saka that saved this manager's job. Let's be real. If it weren't for Saka,
he is the biggest. He is the only star that, if we win things, he's the only star that's got the ability to create something out of nothing so he can win the game. He's still got that, regardless of what you think of him and how well he's playing and whether you think he's world class or not. This is Saka's team. I disagree with Gunnar Lee when he said it's all about Kai Havertz. I understand. I respect the fact. No, what he said made perfect sense.
Yeah. I see where he was coming from.
Kai Havertz is seen as a generational talent in Germany, and he does have that ability. But Saka's better.
Yeah, facts. And I agree with what Dan said and what was said on Turkish and all the lads. You know, no one deserves this. Well, we all do. I mean, it's been a long, long time. So all the fans and that, but it'd be great for the likes of Saka that's put a shift in for this football club over the years.
No, we deserve it. We deserve it more.
One for you, Dan. Martin Tapp. Dan, love the 12th man. Love the 12th roundabout. Had to say it. Yeah, it's a top show, and Dan's doing some madness all the time. Make sure you're following him. As I said, if you're new to YouTube and you don't know who Dan is, go and follow the 12th man. It's absolutely lit.
Big up, bro.
Kenny, what were you saying about the Saka?
I think we deserve it more as fans, because I always say that the players,
100%.
I can understand where he's coming from, because he's probably met Saka, interviewed him, and Saka is a nice bloke. It's not a case of him coming across well. He is that person, and a lot of people who've met him have only got good things to say about his character. He's a gentle person, and he's very respectful, and he's kind. And that's one thing. When I look at the players and I see him coming out, I look for the human touch, and he has got that. But from where we've been, and the sort of ridicule we put up with, and the banter, and the pain, I think we deserve it more than any player going. And that's not taken away from Bukayo Saka, but I think you think about it, Arsenal fans, you know, we're trying to sell ourselves as one of the biggest clubs in the country. And every time people push back on us and say Chelsea's a bigger club, Man City's a bigger club. And these are younger fans who basically tell us we haven't got the currency to actually sell ourselves. Well, if we win these trophies, we'll be able to sell this beautiful club as one of the biggest in the planet. We have to win. And it beats us just a little bit more than Bukayo Saka.
No, facts, Kenny. Facts. Let's do it. Let's do it, boys. But it's been a brilliant show. Dan, what you got coming up, brother, on your show?
So I'm live at 10 o'clock after the Spurs game with Lee Judges on his channel with Graham and Albert. And I'll be back tomorrow on my channel around about 3 o'clock, to be honest. But I just dropped a show at 4 p.m. today, which is worth looking at because it went a bit nuts, as it always does. So, yeah, go and show some love to 12th, man.
Who's on
Everyone was on it, mate. There was Sava and
George. Oh, is it my mate? Was it my friend Dan Lawless?
No, it weren't Lawless. It was Wolfie. Who was it? Wolfie, Gunnar Lee, Hooks, me, Callum from Coppish, Liverpool, and Sava and George from Spurs. And it was a cooking session. Liverpool and Spurs.
I know.
Yeah,
I like Savs, man. I like the Savs. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to go and watch it. If you ain't seen it, it should be lit. I reckon it was a popcorn.
You know, a guy who I really liked. It was really nice. It was really nice when I spoke to him. Was a guy called Don, the Chelsea fan.
Yeah, Don's class, mate. Yeah, he's lovely.
It was brilliant. It was nice to meet him. So, Don, are you watching this? You're a good man.
Yeah, Don's class, mate.
Make sure you go and check that out on the 12th man on his earlier show. I bet he'll crazy.
You know what we should call everyone? Dan? You know what we should call Dan? Jerry Springer. He's Jerry Springer.
Jerry Springer, mate. Jerry Springer.
Dan knows why.
Sava gets rattled very easily. Listen, any Spurs fans rattled at the moment because going on to tonight's game, if they fail there,
see what I say.
if they fail to get over the line tonight with 3 points,
that's what I said. Jerry Springer is amongst us.
I
think
they
could go.
I'd rather it be called Jerry Springer than Jeremy Kyle, mate. I think.
No, you're the Jeremy Springer with Essex. Essex is very young Jerry Springer, and you know why.
Love that,
Jerry
bro.
Springer.
And big up for having me, DJ. Appreciate it.
No, big up, Dan. It's been an absolute pleasure. Big up to everyone. Make sure you smash a like on the way out. This is the Arsenal Huddle. Kenny, make sure you're following Kenny Ken on his Instagram as well. Absolute legend.
Come on, Palace.
Come on, Palace. Yeah, let's make it a good couple of nights. But we're 7 points clear, people. It's all to play for. Let's keep our feet on the ground. Let's not start talking quads and all that just yet. Just get me one trophy. That's all I want. Boys, we're out of here. Bless, big up, and see you all soon. Bless.